axe it and you go Giants Cowboys. Let's start with Russell Wilson. He's been struggling. Do you see him having a good outing on Thanksgiving Day?
Based on the numbers, I don't. And Russell Wilson is a guy I was dead wrong on last week. I didn't like the matchup. He had a good game because of what he can do as a runner.
That's right.
So a lot of people are probably going to have to start him. But if you look at his career totals against San Francisco, they are not very good. Fewer than 200 passing yards and an interception each of his 4 career games against San Fran. And the Niners defense is really tough. So if you start Russell Wilson, start him with caution.
All right, so the Russell Wilson situation has been a little bit confusing. More confusing for me, Elliot, is the Seahawks defense.
Yeah, and
what's going on?
I have to play him in our Fantasy Experts League if I'm going to make the playoffs. But you know what? I know you're going to give me a bunch of numbers, Fabulicious.
I am.
But I don't like him because I'm doing an FGP, a fantasy gut play. You ever do that, James?
Where's that stat?
Look, Marcus has a gut feeling about
regularly. That's my analysis.
Hey, look, here's the deal. San Francisco, Frank Gore's not going to cough it up 2 times like he did last week. And Colin Kaepernick just had his head coach pull an anti-Gruden. Gave him a vote of confidence in a press conference. I think he's going to play with confidence because of it. I don't see him throwing an interception. I don't see Frank Gore fumbling. How do you get points in fantasy for a defense?
Wait a minute now. Turnovers.
Defenses who have faced the 49ers in the last 4 games have averaged almost 10 fantasy points. And in standard scoring leagues, that's pretty good. I mean, the Rams had, 16 against them? Colin Kaepernick is turning the ball over a little bit.
They're at home.
Seattle's defense is playing really well.
The big difference is, and as Ellis pointed it out, the Seahawks aren't getting turnovers this year. That's been the big difference between last year and this season. They're not getting sacks either. The Rams got all those points, or most of those points, because they sacked the quarterback a lot. Seattle's not doing that. Plus, away from the Pacific Northwest, they're a different group altogether.
Not ordinary, especially considering Brandon Mebane now out of there. They're not getting that push up front, and it's creating a little bit of havoc in the secondary. Richard Sherman and Earl Thomas, those guys aren't getting the turnovers, as Elliot mentioned. All right.
So Seattle's defense is slightly more pedestrian.
Yes,
that's what we're trying to say.
Start them this
You said
week.
Frank Gore. You're
Give
going
it
to
them,
toss
but
it up. But
they are
Elliot,
hard to say.
Yeah.
What can we expect from Frank Gore in this one and Anquan Bolden?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about these guys in conjunction with each other because I think that they are the flex conundrum for a lot of people's fantasy teams out there. I don't think you can call Frank Gore an RB2. I really don't. I think he's a flex. Anquan Bolden is a guy who early in the season no one wanted to drop necessarily, but they had him parked at the very bottom of their bench, literally, and debating, do I drop him? Do I drop him? Here's the thing. Anquan Bolden, 3 of his last 4 games, he's got a touchdown. He's been hugely involved in the offense. And what you pointed out about Seattle, yes, Brandon Mebane out is big, but their secondary hasn't been as good this year. I like Anquan Bolden over Frank Gore if you have to make that kind of choice in fantasy.
So I'm assuming you're pretty high on Colin Kaepernick then on this one based on this discussion.
You know, I would like to be, and just because Seattle finds a way to defend him so well, I actually have a feeling this is going to be a very low-scoring game. I don't see a lot of points in this one. Right? You know, so the passing game has been inconsistent. Kaepernick has been sacked a ton this year. I don't know if he gets sacked a lot, but I don't see him breaking out, running for big yards. I think he's going to have a fairly mediocre game this week. If you have another option, I would probably think to do that as your quarterback.
You know, and the thing is, Mark, is Colin Kaepernick has had cupcake matchups, as Fabs has pointed out, for the last 3 weeks. He just hasn't performed. Now he's got a tougher matchup against Seattle. It's hard to play.
He's had some bad luck. He dropped passes that could have been touchdowns. He fumbled at the goal line against St. Louis.
but I don't trust him this week.
Okay, chocolate cake, white frosting, or white cake chocolate frosting?
White cake chocolate frosting all day. All right, Colin Kaepernick versus Russell Wilson. When we look at these two head-to-head, again, it looks like Colin Kaepernick's getting the edge there because you see from Russell Wilson that 6 turnovers. You guys know I don't have the greatest vision there. And the 2 TDs versus the 6 TDs and the 3. Do you agree?
Is doing well from a fantasy
But I'm
perspective.
saying
15 points versus 10.
head-to-head,
Yeah, Kaepernick's been better.
you would take
Russell
Kaepernick.
Wilson just seems like a different quarterback this year, though. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, the whole team seems
No
to.
Percy Harvin, no Golden Tate. Makes a lot of difference.